My best friend outed me in front of my whole school. I'm gay, I said, looking straight into the eyes of my reflection. I was at my best friend's place, and Tom was in the bathroom. While he was busy taking a bath, I was busy reflecting on how I was going to break it to him, the eternal truth about me. Despite being best friends for nearly 13 years now, I hadn't told Tom about it. I hadn't even hinted at it. I was not sure why I hid it for so long, but the partial answer could be that I had only recently come to peace with being gay. And now that months had passed after that, I wanted Tom to know about that too. It certainly did not help that I loved him. As far as I was aware, Tom was not homophobic. He regularly participated in any event to support the rights of our community. But I was afraid that he would not take lightly the fact that his best friend was a part of the community too. But at the same time, I wanted him to know it. What was the worst that could happen anyways? With that in mind, I repeated the sentence. I was confident I would let him know the same by tonight. I'm gay, I said, and this time I sounded a little unsure. But that was not the case. I was sure I was gay. Heck, I had even kissed a guy and enjoyed doing it. So I tried again. I stopped immediately. Tom had come out of the bathroom, and despite being in various states of undress himself, he curiously looked at me. I said, "Where are your damn clothes, man?" "Why are you freaking out?" He laughed and pointed at his towel. "I'm not naked." "Horror," I answered, even though my cheeks were flushed red. Tom was part of our football team, and, well, you know the rest. As cliche as it sounded, Tom was everything I wanted to be, except I was way too lazy to exercise. As he dressed, I kept peeking glances at his broad shoulders. His shoulders were well defined, and it made sense why I liked hugging him so much. You could not argue against that if you knew Tom. Anyways, what are you saying in the mirror? Nothing. I wanted him to know, but I believed I wasn't ready after all. He raised an eyebrow at me. Are you going somewhere? No, I answered, genuinely confused now. Yeah, you were saying something, and then you stopped. Dude, drop it. I rolled my eyes and dropped face first onto his bed. You're so annoying. What footballer takes so much time bathing anyway? I do, he answered. Fuck others. Yeah, right. He dressed himself up, and I scrolled through my phone. Hurry up, he said, 5 minutes later. I'm dying of hunger. Yeah, and whose fault is that? At the little shop we often visited when we were too lazy to demand anything from our moms, I bravely expressed my opinions on the stranger sitting across from us. It was the first time I was so blatant about my appreciation for a man, and honestly, I dropped it as a hint for Tom. I was still scared to tell him about my being gay, so I decided maybe I should begin with smaller things, right? So in my bravery, I nodded at the man. Tom turned to look at him and then looked back at me. What? He asked, with his mouth full. When I made a face at him, he laughed and chewed more obnoxiously. Hell, this dude was disgusting. Why was I even in love with a loser like him anyway? I swallowed first before answering. He is nice. Nice as in, he stopped and looked at the stranger again. Do you know him? Do you mean he has a nice personality? Nice nature? What, dude? You finished your food first because you were dying of hunger just half an hour ago, and I will explain what I mean. Phew, I was acting confident as if my heart was not threatening to burst out of my chest. I said, he is nice looking. I mean, look at the structure of his face. I believe that face belongs to a modeling campaign. And it seems as if I was right. He's handsome as hell. Whoa, Tom said, and his face changed the slightest. And the slope of his shoulders? Yeah, he works out. His hair is nicely trimmed as well. He pays attention to how he looks. And I emphasize the word because this was going to be the last darn hint for the day. His hands. They're so... Brad! Tom laughed a dumb laugh. I'm trying to eat. Jesus. I shrugged. My face was red. I'm just appreciating a man. That's all. Men deserve appreciation as well. Yeah, he agreed. But from the girls? I narrowed my eyes on him. Kidding, man, he laughed. And I knew he was. Maybe you go and tell him. He will appreciate that. Unless he does not like it or something. We turned to look at the man and found him staring back at us. Immediately, we moved our eyes to our food and ate in silence for the next 2 minutes before busting into little gigglings. I hoped the man wouldn't take it as something bad. Then, when we were paying our bill, the stranger slid a folded napkin towards me. I didn't even need to look at it to know it was there. Tom peered at the napkin and then stayed silent for a long while, and only broke the silence when I was about to walk in the direction of my home. Hey, he said. Yeah? Are you gonna call him or something? He shoved his hands into his pants pockets and did not look straight into my eyes. He was nervous. I did not know why. There was no reason. Yeah, the same way you messaged Amy after the party night. Yeah, but he went silent for a while. Never mind, man. You got a girlfriend, man. Let me fool around a bit. The dude's handsome and looked nice enough. It was not exactly a hint. It was right in his face, except I was not going to tell him straight away. Yeah, but it's He went silent. Are you? He stopped and then stepped back. Good night, man. See you at the school tomorrow. He blew a kiss at me and laughed like a maniac when I showed him my foot. But I stood at my porch long after he was gone. I could not understand some things about Tom. I knew, and this was one of them. When I entered my bedroom, I threw the napkin into the dustbin. Sorry, Mr. Handsome Stranger. Maybe you would find someone better than me. At the school the next day, I could breathe the anticipation for prom. The prom fever was everywhere. It was almost like the school reeked of it. It was not like I was not excited about it, but some people were so excited they kind of ruined the fun of it. But then again, could I blame them for it? They were probably excited for spending some time, and maybe night, with their crush. And what was going on for me? The love of my life was busy with his girlfriend while I was still hung up on him. I did not even have the number of Mr. Handsome Stranger anymore to fool around with him. Man, my life was a mess. The old saying was true. Do not fall in love with a straight man of all people. Then again, it was not like I knew when I fell in love with him. To be honest, and I was saying this as Tom's best friend, Tom was a nice guy. Besides his charming personality and attractive body, he was amazing to be around. He knew when to speak and when to shut up, and it was a nice thing. He gave the best hugs and even knew how to bake my favorite cookies. Of course, there were other issues with him, like he was impulsive. He did not work well under pressure. If it looked like he was handling pressure better, there was enough chance that he would do something dumb soon. It was characteristic of him. I knew everything about him, yet I fell in love with him. I noticed, and I fell in love. Perhaps that was it. The reason why, I did not know when I fell in love with him. It was precisely because of that when he announced he was going to date that sweet girl from the party after all. I did not go home and cry. Okay, that was a lie. I did cry a bit, but even then, I accepted it without a fight. His relationship with Amy was another thing that was a part of his life. So what? I could remember another thing about him. But that did not mean I had to like Amy, though. Although Amy was a nice girl, I did not have to like her, and that just made hating their relationship harder. I often felt like a loser. You said you were going shopping? I asked him at lunch. Yeah, but Tom said he has a headache. I will go on my own, Amy replied. Behind her, Tom begged me to not say a word. How long was this fever been going on anyway, Brad? Ask him to go to the hospital, please. He never listens to me. Fever, it was a lie. And now I had to make do with the little information I had about this new excuse. I swallowed my food first before answering. 3 weeks, I answered confidently. 3 weeks? Amy screamed. What the hell, why didn't you tell me? The question was directed at Tom. 3 weeks are a lot. Obviously, Amy answered, a hint of frustration in her voice. I shrugged at Tom when he glared at me. But it's getting better, I promise. Amy turned to look at me. Be honest, Brad. Is it getting better? I suppose. I snapped my tiffin shut. There was this thing lacing her tone, and I knew I had created trouble. I was worried they would fight. I'm going for my next class. Tom held my hand. You still have 15 minutes to go. Yeah, but I stopped and I thought of a name. Ethan wanted me to meet at the library. Tom's hand loosened. Ethan? Why do you want to meet that loser anyway? None of your business, Tom, Amy answered, and asked him to leave me alone. Exactly, none of your business, I answered, though a little cheeky. He dropped his hand and let me leave, but it was clear to me he was now in a sour mood too. Ethan and Tom had a long-standing rivalry. It was for a petty reason, but footballers liked holding on to every little mean thing anyways. It was the same for Tom and Ethan, and I had just taken Ethan's name, of all people. It was clear he was sus. 2 days later, he dropped by my place. What are you doing here? I asked. Don't you have a, headache? He rolled his eyes for a dramatic second. Then he answered, We're going out shopping. He scrolled through his phone. As far as I know, Amy has done her shopping and we are safe. I don't understand, I asked. Shopping, Brad, he said. I know your lazy arse will not go shopping until the last moment, and then you'll pick up the dumbest looking stuff for prom. And I don't want my best friend to look stupid, he pointed into my room. Go pick up your wallet and let's go. All right, I answered slowly, though I was secretly pleased. During the shopping, I asked him what he was trying to achieve. All boys dressed the same at prom. Only girls had pretty clothes to wear. Oh, all right, he said, then maybe we should buy you pretty dresses and wigs. You'd have a nosebleed then, I answered. Tom stopped for a while. Now don't imagine me in them, you creep. Tom burst out laughing and showed me a pair of loafers. Let's begin from here. An hour later, you would find us in the same changing booth. We were dressed in what we intended to buy, and Tom was busy handling his hair. He looked at my reflection and nodded his head in appreciation. You look good in black, he said. Yeah, I answered, with a straight face, but I was secretly pleased. Brings out the color here. He grabbed his tie and stepped a little closer. Help me with this. I swallowed. There isn't even a need for that, I answered. It looks nice. Help me, dude, he insisted and shoved the tie right in my face. Help, sir. Everyone knew what this looked like. I decided not to look at his face because I knew that even though I knew how to tie a tie, I would forget. So I took the tie from his hand and decided to do as it was asked of him. My hands were trembling, so my fingers touched his face a few times. I swear to God, if we were boyfriends, I would have kissed him. You know, this is the first time I have noticed you're so short. When I did not answer, he went on. I have to dip my head to stare right into your eyes, shorty. He laughed. That loser. Your girlfriend is likely going to be shorter than you, and your guys are going to make the shortest pair of lovers. That dumb loser. I needed him to shut up. I should have prayed for myself. I'm gay, I told him. He stilled. Okay, he said sometime later. I wanted to tell you, but I wasn't sure how. The tie was done, but I kept my hands on his chest. He did not push them away either, but yeah, that's the truth. I'm gay. I like boys, so... I stopped, shrugged, and then looked into his eyes. I will not have a girlfriend. Maybe a boyfriend. Most likely taller than me. Okay, he said again. Thanks for telling me. I was slightly disappointed, but that was because he did not repeat the same. I wanted him to say, hey Brad, I'm gay too. Or, hey Brad, I'm bi. That would have been nice of him. You're not upset? Upset about you liking guys? What's the issue with that? They were rhetorical questions. I did not need to answer them. Whether you like chicks or shut up. And we laughed. Thanks. Yeah, he answered, and then smiled. He cleared his throat and looked down at my hands on his chest. I removed them immediately as red flush crept on my cheeks. I guess we look good, he pointed at our reflection. We look perfect, I answered. Yeah, I know. He looked into my eyes through the reflection, and I knew things were going to change between us. 2 days after that, and 3 nights before the prom, we had a sleepover at my place. My parents, who were already familiar with our routine, were already asleep, and the entire house was silent, save for the noise from the TV and our giggles and laughs. I just had to make sure that we were not too loud, and I knew it was going to be okay. Remember that guy from that evening? The model one, as you put it. He began all of a sudden. Yeah, I was sleepy and my words slurred a lot. Did you call him? No, I answered. Did you message him then? He asked, sounding a little confident now. Nope. He took a deep breath. And Ethan, is something going on between you two? Oh hell no, I snorted. Isn't he like your enemy or something? I'm not gonna backstab you, Tom. Yeah, thanks for that, he answered and laughed. Then lay down beside me. But you know, you can date whoever you want, alright? Just because I'm not good with them doesn't mean you cannot date them. Yeah, well, thanks for the permission, but if my best friend doesn't like someone for whatever reason, I don't like them either. Tom smiled. He looked more comfortable now. Earlier, he looked constipated. Well, I'm still glad you told me about it, though. Just in case you're too happy, my parents have known for a longer time. I'm glad no one's troubling you then. You will take care of them for me. I will, he answered in a promising tone. Brad, he said, then he fell asleep. I switched off the TV and the bedside lamp. It was ironic. He was so close to me, and yet not enough. The problem between Amy and him started the next day. In the evening, I received a message from him. He asked if I wanted to go to the park. It was not always that he asked for that, but whenever he did, it meant something was troubling him. Park always sounded like a cry for help. I always imagined it as a signal. I told him I would be there. In the park, he told me about the recent argument he had with Amy. It was over something trivial, he said, but it was clear he was hiding something from me. He also confessed that Amy and he had been having some trouble in their relationship for some time, and it just made me curious about the state of their relationship, because it was still 4 months into their relationship. She's usually so nice, but when she's down, she gets so vicious. It's hard to keep everything in control when she is so mean, he told me. Did you do something? Me? No, Lord knows what I did. Maybe try understanding her. It was tough playing mediator between the two when I loved Tom so much. It should work, I believe. I cannot be the only understanding person in the relationship, he argued. I agree, I answered, but I want to end it all with her, he confessed, and that silenced me. Tom? I feel like she's keeping me from important people. I don't know. He looked into my eyes, and I don't want to lose important people for her. She's your girlfriend, I said. Yet I don't want to be with her. We sat there for hours. We talked, but we were mostly silent. Tom made a lot of confessions, and I was surprised at most. I guess during one of those confessions, my resolve to keep myself to myself ended. Or maybe it was just bad planning. But when Tom looked at me again, and it seemed like there was just two of us, I leaned in to kiss him. I expected to be shoved back or be hit, or Tom to get upset at me for taking it too far, but I did not expect him to kiss me in return. That was the kind of reaction I was not expecting. Lo and behold, whatever strength I lacked in the kiss, Tom fulfilled it for me. He kissed me so passionately that I thought, well, at least I was right about one thing. Things were going to change between us. Next came the evening of the prom itself. Tom and I did not kiss after that evening in the park, and frankly, we did not even talk about it. We mutually decided it was best left unsaid. I did not know if he had told Amy about it or something else, so I kept my mouth shut. It hurt, but it was what it was, and I expected it to be just that. Then something else happened. Amy and Tom had a small argument in the evening before prom, so the initial plan of them arriving together at the venue changed, and in the end, Tom and I went to the prom together. Amy was still there, waiting for him to reach. Instead of anticipating meeting her after the argument, Tom was more interested in complaining about the current state of his relationship. In his opinion, he was pretty sure something was missing in his relationship. I had little idea about what that was, so I did not encourage his doubt in his head. Whatever he wanted, I was sure he would work towards that anyways. We soon reached the school, and there she was, Amy, waiting for him in a pretty red dress. If I were straight, I would have liked her too. But the truth was that I didn't, and at this moment, she was my rival. Tom went to meet her, and I walked out of there. I did not want to see them kiss, thank you very much. From what I knew about the couple's plan, Amy wanted Tom and her to win the best titles of the evening, Prom Queen and Prom King. And the chances of that were high. Tom was already known because he belonged to our school's only good sports team, and Amy was a good student with a very good face. She was popular, just like him. The chances were high. I found my corner with my friends. Amy and Tom disappeared half an hour into the prom. I did not care what they were doing, but I hoped they were not busy making babies. 10 minutes later, Amy returned to the main crowd. She looked flushed, which was not my favorite look on her, but there was something more, and none of it was obvious until I saw her hurriedly talking to her friends. I realized something was wrong. But instead of going to her, I looked for Tom. It was not hard to find him, but it took me 15 minutes just to get to him. I found him squinting at the fairy lights on the school building. He acted like he was drunk out of his mind. I looked at the broad lines of his shoulders for a moment before deciding I needed to talk to him, if only to make sure he was all right. "Hey," I said. "Hey," he answered without looking. "Did she tell you already?" "Tell me what?" I asked. "Is everything okay between you two?" "No," he hissed. "Of course, nothing's okay with us." He rubbed a hand over his hair in frustration. "We broke up." It shocked me. From the way Tom talked about their relationship, it was clear he was not happy with how things were going between them. But this was still shocking. "What?" I said. "How's that possible? I'd only seen them laughing some time ago. How was the breakup possible?" "Well, isn't it obvious, Brad?" he asked and finally looked at me. What I saw shocked me. His face was red, and there were tears of frustration in his eyes. He was not only upset, but also hurt. And confused, I guessed. It was not the first time I had seen this side of him, but it certainly was just as shocking. "Isn't it clear enough, Brad?" "I don't understand," I answered with honesty. I was confused. But he did not answer. He kept his eyes on me. I tried to reason with him. "Tom," I began. "I'm sorry for kissing you. I'm sorry for doing everything wrong. But if this is because of me, please don't break up with her." But that was not enough. He had other things to say. "It's not because of you," he answered. "I'm still sorry," I replied. But he did not stop looking at me. It looked as if, in this moment of weakness, he wanted some kind of reassurance from me. And where could I find it? And I followed my gut instincts. Before I could think of doing or saying anything, I kissed him. But it was not exactly a bad idea. And that was precisely because he kissed me back. I could not understand the moral implications behind whatever we did, but kissing him felt good. And if his hands on me were any indication, the feeling was reciprocated. When it got too much, because, of course, kissing your crush did that, I tried to step back and take a couple of breaths to understand whatever the heck I was doing. But Tom did not feel the same. When I tried to step back, he chased my mouth for another kiss. And that was telling enough. I believed. I still did not know what he was. Was he gay? Was he bi? Was he still straight? Or was it that he just did not care about that at all? I could not tell, but we kissed as if we did not have another day to live. We were forgetful of the world around us in those moments, but it was not going to stay like that always. Just when I started relaxing under his touch, we heard several gasps from a little distance. Tom pushed me away. I stumbled, but did not hurt myself. I was okay physically, but mentally and emotionally, I was shocked and hurt. Tom, what the fuck was that? It was one of Amy's friends. The trio belonged to the social circle of Amy's high school. It was bad news. Is that why you broke up with Amy? Another one asked. Because you wanted to kiss your best friend? Male best friend, the third one added and giggled. Are you gay? He stepped towards them and shook his head. No, I'm not. Brad kissed me suddenly, and I didn't know. Brad, he said and turned to me. Please tell him you're gay. I was too shocked to speak. What the hell was he doing? Is Brad gay? What? Wow. The three giggled together. I did not know that. Are you serious? They discussed it amongst themselves. I mean, look at him. And the three looked at me. Their faces looked devilish. I did not know who I was more angry with. They or my best fucking friend in the entire world, Tom Simpson. When they left, Tom turned to me. His expression told me he was scared, but that was not enough. I knew what those girls were capable of. They would go and tell everyone about it, and I was not ready to tell it to any outsider. Heck, I did not even think they needed to know that. In the end, I decided I couldn't care less if the entire world knew of being gay. What hurt me was Tom and how easy it was for him to throw me under the bus. Tom came closer to me, but I swatted his hand away. Everything happened so suddenly that I did not know how to react to anything. Instead of confronting him or what he did, I ran away from there. This was the first time I had cried this year. Tom came after me, but I shoved him away. The first thing I did when I reached home was to cry into my father's arms. He was the first to know I was gay. Insisted of bothering me with questions. My mom gave me a warm glass of milk and let me go to sleep early tonight. It was still 8. It was way too soon. But did I care? From where I stood, I saw nothing but a mess. I had lost everything, and there was no other way of looking at any of this. When Tom started calling me, I switched off my phone. I did not want to see or talk to him. 4 days passed, and Tom made exactly 34 attempts to apologize to me in front of my parents. In the beginning, my parents scolded him for his selfishness and asked him to apologize to me whenever I decided to talk to him. Each time, he passionately answered that he would do so. But even then, I did not bother seeing him. Another day passed, and then another. Are they saying something? My dad asked. I did not move my eyes from the TV screen. My bum hurt from how long I had been sitting in the same spot. I moved little to ease the pain. The kids at school, he began. Are they bullying you? Saying something mean? They can try to, I hissed, anger in my voice. I'm sure Tom will teach them I abruptly stopped. I did not know where that came from. I will teach them a fucking lesson. Hey, no swearing, my mom shouted from the kitchen. Talk to him, Brad, my dad said softly after a few moments. He hurt me, I told him. Tell him that. Why should I? The doorbell rang, and I stopped. Probably Mom's delivery. And you need a check, he told me. I huffed and checked the door. Of all people, it turned out to be Amy. Can we talk? She asked. I sighed. All right. I gestured to her to come in. No, outside is okay, she said. I sighed again and nodded. It was past 10, and my parents asked me to stay close to home. I promised I would. What is it? I asked, when we were a short distance from home. Geez, shouldn't you apologize first? My boyfriend broke up with me for you. I said, the confusion evident in my face. Just apologize, she said. Sorry? I said. I'm sorry, I am. There wasn't any need, but thanks for making me feel good. Anyways, because it's late, I'll go straight to the point. Tom needs you. I scoffed. Heck if I care. I understand what happened was wrong, and Tom is at fault for what he did. But to be very honest, it was mostly my friend's fault. They should have used their brains. It was wrong, and they will apologize to you as well. But listen, she said. Tom is missing. What does that even mean? He's not at his home, and his parents refuse to say anything. He's been missing for 3 days, and his parents are not doing anything, and I have zero idea where he is. Please find him. Hold on, I don't understand. What happened? She shrugged. Only he can tell. She patted my shoulder. But only you can find him. We told his parents that if we could not find him, we would report it to the police. Please, we don't want to deal with the police. Find him. She pleaded, She stepped into her car. When you do, phone me. I need to talk to him too. Then she left. I swallowed. It did not make sense at all. Where did he go? I ran home, informed my parents of my intention to find Tom, and left before they could understand what the hell I was saying. I called him, but he did not pick up. The more I called, and the more he did not pick up, the more panicked I felt. Half an hour passed and I was still nowhere, and it was then that I thought of the park. Without waiting a moment, I ran towards it, and just as I had predicted, he was there, and in our favorite spot in the entire area. What shocked me was that he was lying on the grass with a backpack under his head. It was not the kind of sight I expected to see. I ran up to him, breathing hard and screaming at him. He sat up straight immediately, though he seemed a little groggy. Oops, I had just woken him up from sleep. What? He asked. What are you doing, Tom? Why are you not at home? Is that you, Brad? Yeah, that's me, I answered. Now tell me what's going on. What's the meaning of all of this? Why are you not at home? What happened? Hey, take a breath, he said, and held my hand. I will tell you everything. Tom confessed he was gay and that he was afraid of accepting that part of him. So Amy was the option to help him deal with it. It did not work out. After the prom night, he informed his parents of the same. His parents did not like that at all, further cementing his previous assumptions that being gay was trouble. I held his hand as he explained everything to me. He said when his parents realized he was speaking the truth, they kicked him out, and they asked him to never return to them again. Being a hard-headed teenager, he decided to not return either. That's why he was here. And I'm fucking sorry, Brad. I shouldn't have done that to you. I wanted to come to you, but I was so sorry for what I had done. Brad, I couldn't. Hey, it's alright. It wasn't entirely your fault. Now, get up. Why? You're coming home with me. It did not take too long for my parents to understand what had happened. Though they were still upset at him, they accepted Tom and let him stay with us in my bedroom. He apologized to all of us throughout the night, and every night after that. It took me a while, but I accepted his apologies. 2 weeks after that, we received emails in our notification. It was from the same college. News? We were selected in the same college. So the 4 of us celebrated the news. After a night, as we were preparing for bed, Tom poked me in my shin and apologized again. Jesus, I said, a little groggy. You scared the hell out of me. I sighed and turned to the side where he was sleeping on the mattress on the floor. What? He was not on the mattress. He was right in front of me. Are we okay? He asked. Yeah, I answered. He took a deep breath. Brad, I was thinking something. I looked at the clock, even though my heart was beating fast and I was no longer sleepy. The proximity was going to be the death of me. It's 1. Would you go out with me? Huh? I asked and swallowed. I knew exactly what he wanted. What? Go out, with me, as my boyfriend. Tom? Is that a no? Just as he tried to move away, I grabbed his neck and kissed him. And did he return the kiss? Well, considering the weight on me, I'd say he did. Conclusion. Tom's parents never really tried to contact him again for good things. If they did, it was mostly to remind him that he still had some chance, but it was the strangest argument, even from my parents' point of view, because Tom had nowhere else to go. My parents decided to let him stay with us until we had to move out of the city for college. In our relationship, we might have gone on a couple of dates after that kiss, and some more. We did not name our relationship, but it was okay like that. But anyone could say that we looked like a couple. We decided to look for an apartment near the college, and we found one an hour away from the institution. It was the cheapest. We will move there soon, and perhaps our relationship would begin afresh from there. The end. Is there a way parents can be stopped from going as far as to throw their kids out of their home for simply being gay? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing to become part of our Rainbow Force, and stay wholesome.